एक झलक को तेरी पाया नूर रूहानी तेरा। सजदे में रही अब न जाए कहीं, मिला जो हमें रहनुमा। बाखुदा बाखुदा मिल गया हमको तेरा पता। ए खुदा ए खुदा, पूरी हुई मेरी हर दुआ। शुक्रिया शुक्रिया मेरे मौला तेरा शुक्रिया। सबका मालिक है चाहे मजहब अनेक, सिखाया रूहों को पाक बनना और नेक। वादा करते हैं हम एक रहेंगे हम, मिला के चलेंगे कदम से कदम। जन्नत ले आए ज़मीं पे हम, हो फरिश्तों की ये दुनिया। ए खुदा ए खुदा, पूरी हुई मेरी हर दुआ। शुक्रिया शुक्रिया मेरे मौला तेरा शुक्रिया। ए खुदा ए खुदा, पूरी हुई मेरी हर दुआ। शुक्रिया शुक्रिया मेरे मौला तेरा शुक्रिया। मेरे मौला तेरा शुक्रिया। मेरे मौला तेरा शुक्रिया।
तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। मिले न स्वर्ग में वो सुख लुटाने वाला है। तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। जिसे पाकर न पाना कुछ शेष रह जाए, पाके इतना बाबा अपना दिल अब तो गाए। साथ अपने है जग का जो रखवाला है। तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। तेरी आँखों से पीते हम हैं अमृत प्याले, बड़ी जतन से छुपा कर नजर में हो पाले। तुम्हारे याद के मोती गले की माला है, तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। बाबा कहते हो यही बच्चे मेरे ताज तुम्ही, नैन के नूर लाड लो मेरी आवाज तुम्ही। मेरी दुनिया में तेरे दम से उजाला है, तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। तेरी नजर का असर दिल ने तुम्हें जान लिया, दिल ने दिल में ही अपना तुझे सब मान लिया। दिल के ताऊस तख्त पर तू दिल वाला है, तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है। मिले न स्वर्ग में वो सुख लुटाने वाला है, तुम्हारे साथ का अनुभव बड़ा निराला है।
Shanti, good morning. Just to test, can everyone hear on Zoom?
Yes, we can hear. I can hear clearly.
Okay, thank you. So, Shanti, everyone, and welcome. Special welcome to Silinda and Padma Ben. So nice to have you with us. So today is Murli. As I was reading it, it really just reminded me of that junkie. It's like that junkie just came so clearly in my mind, that her words, because one of Daddy's favorite slogans was, "The Lord is pleased with an honest heart." And that is the whole thread of this morning's Murli. And I think it's, a couple of things that Baba takes up, and that one of that is really that when we sometimes have that intention for upliftment, that intention to move forward and grow, but what is it that sometimes prevents us? And Baba's talking about it in context of the Lokik world as well. And two things, courage and power. And we know that, power comes with remembrance of God. That's the only way that we really draw power from Baba. But courage, and it's almost like that expression Baba uses sometimes. Child, take one step of courage and Baba will take a million steps towards you. And I always felt that one step of courage that is required from us, that invites Baba's help, because Baba can't help us if we don't invite him to help us. He is very respectful of the soul, so he waits for us when we're ready for him. But that one step of courage is really honesty. And Baba's talking about an honest heart today. Because with that honesty, it's like whatever sits in a heart, it's clean. And that's what the honesty is about. So, when Daddy used to say, honesty, truth, cleanliness, and then simplicity. That was the three slogans. And that sense of truthfulness, in a way, is when I keep that lens of the self always towards the self, that introversion, always looking at the self to see what is the internal refinement and cleanliness that's needed. Because the danger, Baba is saying today, that, shifts the focus away is when we start looking at others. Even to say, I'm not doing too bad, that one's longer than me in Gyan and they still do this, so I'm okay. That little bit of seeing others and looking at others' sanskaras in a way, it's like a dishonesty. And it becomes a carelessness that then gives me excuses for not taking the responsibility for my own journey. And that's why Baba is highlighting today with it is honesty. It's always looking at the self. There was an expression in the Murli about last year sometime, and it stuck in my mind because Baba said, when you look at others, then you're influenced by others. So parchintan, looking and thinking of others, leads to paramat. The intellect gets distorted. And then I can't really grasp the subtlety of Baba's Srimad and follow that Srimad. And today Baba is saying that, when we do things from the head, that's only purely from understanding, it's good. But it's still very connected with what's obvious, But when we're operating from the heart is more subtle. Because one thing that's strongly associated with the heart are our feelings, isn't it? And you can be very clever with your words and you can talk yourself out of many things, right? But you can't lie to yourself about your feelings. Others may not see it, but you know what you're feeling, whether you're feeling content or discontent. And so therefore Baba is saying that when I'm coming from the heart, there's subtlety. And really when we're operating and really that feeling now, where we are in the confluence age now, we are seeing things on one level, the obvious that's happening, but I think Brahman role is the subtle work that we have to do. And so the honesty of the heart leads to that subtlety, which then makes the attitude very powerful. And attitude, Baba always says, generates the vibration. Attitude creates my presence. So we know our experience with the daddies, they didn't have to say anything. They just walk into a room and the whole atmosphere would change. And that's it, because there's such a deep cleanliness internally, such a high awareness internally, that influences the attitude and that creates the vibration. And our service now is the service of vibrations. It's not so much what we say. I remember in one of the retreats, board retreat or integrated retreat, and this Charlie Bible said there are many people who are a lot smarter, sophisticated, and whatever the way they present themselves. And of course, now we're all sort of on the internet. That's our main level of service. But what is it that stand out about us compared to the rest of the world? It has to be our authenticity and our simplicity, you know? And so this whole aspect Baba's highlighting about checking the heart and making the heart clean. And really a clean heart is a heart that's obedient in terms of Baba Srimad. Because Baba's saying something very lovely today, that even if you don't have a very smart intellect, but if the heart is clean, then at the right time, the right direction, the right thing to do, Baba will touch your intellect. And if we look at the Dadis, none of them had a formal education. But it was like, because of the tenderness of the heart, Baba touched them to say the right things to the right people. And that was the magic of the service. And today Baba's even saying that they didn't even know the language. Their language was Sindhi, but they had to give talks in Hindi. So how, so even they didn't have mastery of language, but it was Baba saying the spirituality in the eyes that actually did the work that needs to be done. So I really like that in a way that if we keep the heart clean, Baba will touch the intellect, what to do and how to do. Because right now in the drama, I don't think there's a space for logic anymore. It's just collapsing and it's just reaching its extremes, its subtlety. That's the work that we have to do with. And so the more we keep the heart clean, the more the intellect becomes subtle enough to catch the signals from Baba and take us forward. So a really beautiful Murli, and something that I feel we need to go back to study again and again and really go into its depths. So the original date of this Murli was the 15th of November 1989. And the Murli, the title is, "The Lord is pleased with a true heart." So today, Bab Dada, the one who uplifts all souls of the world, is looking at his elevated children who uplift others. At present, many souls want to be uplifted. They have the desire to uplift themselves, but they neither have the courage nor the power. You children who uplift others are the instruments to uplift such weak souls. Can you children who benefit others hear the calls of souls, or are you busy just uplifting yourselves? Am I receptive to the needs of others, to the world, or am I just so busy in my own world? I'm not aware beyond my own needs. Those who only uplift themselves cannot claim a right to the kingdom of the world. Only souls who uplift others can claim a right to the kingdom. Upliftment takes place. How? How does upliftment take place? Upliftment takes place by having a true heart. The relating knowledge can take place simply with your lips, without your heart. To relate knowledge is a matter of using an unlimited head and of having the practice of speaking. How do we know whether knowledge is just in our heads or has it penetrated the heart? What's the sign? How do we check? Any thoughts? How do we know I've imbibed something rather than just knowing about it? Sorry? When you use it at the right time, exactly. Yes, different scenes of drama will come in front of us. And how I respond to those scenes is a mirror for me to see, have I really imbibed the dhyan or do I just know about it? How stable am I in that moment? And how am I able to keep an unlimited perspective and not get locked up? Is my mind spinning with what is happening, or am I clear and connected? That's when I can see, have I really imbibed it, or is it just an understanding I have? To relate knowledge is a matter of using an unlimited head and of having the practice of speaking. So there is a difference between the head and the heart. Anyone who wants to experience love from someone wants love from the heart. Baghdada's title is Dilwala, conqueror of hearts. And the other one? Dilaram, the comforter of hearts. So Dilwala, the conqueror of my heart, and Dilaram, the comforter of my heart. The head is gross. I was listening to Shivani read this Murli, and she explained it nicely. Gross in English is not the 100% appropriate word, but the idea that whatever the head does, whether I'm speaking something or presenting something or whatever, it's visible. Whereas what the heart is subtle, it's invisible, it's felt, not seen. So that puts it in better context. So the head is gross, meaning it's visible, whereas the heart is subtle, it's invisible. In your interaction, you always say, I'm saying this with the true heart. Remember the Father with the true heart. It is not said, remember him with a true head. It is said, the Lord is pleased with the true heart. Because if the heart is clean, the head follows. The head follows the heart. It is not said that he is pleased with an unlimited head. To have an unlimited head is definitely a speciality, no doubt. For you are able to imbibe points of knowledge very well with this speciality. However, those who remember the Father with their hearts become point formers. So I don't just remember the point, but I become the point. Those people are able to repeat the points, but they would be second in becoming the forms of a point. Sometimes they become point forms easily, whereas at other times they are able to stabilize in the point form after making effort. However, those who have true hearts are able to become points in a second and remember the Father, the point. Because the children with true hearts please the true Lord. They receive special blessings from the Father. Even though some may not have such broad intellects, good heads, in comparison to others, because of the power of their honesty, according to the time, their intellects would automatically work in a yukti-yukt and accurate manner. It's an important point, as I'm going to repeat here, that even though some may not have such a broad intellect, good heads in comparison to others, because of the power of their honesty, according to the time, their intellects would automatically work in a yukti-yukt and accurate manner. According to the drama, because of receiving blessings, their intellects will have touchings for accurate actions, words, and thoughts, for they will have pleased the Father, the intellect of the wise. Those who please God automatically become those who understand all secrets, Raz Yuk. And those who are wise, Yukti Yukt in every way. So check. Check whether you are moving forward in having remembrance and doing service on the basis of having an unlimited head, intellect, or on the basis of having a true heart and an accurate head. So we need both. Not that we shouldn't use our heads, but it shouldn't just be an intellectual exercise. That's what Baba is saying. You know, there should be that bhavna as well, that feeling as well. You were told earlier too that those who serve with their heads only strike the heads of others with the arrow. So they'll impress them, you know, but they won't have the capacity to make the change to the environment. So those who serve from their hearts reach the hearts of others. You saw in service at the beginning of establishment what the speciality of those who served in the first group was. So I was talking about the Dharmis. They didn't have the speciality of language or of giving lectures. Nowadays, you give very good lectures. You tell very good stories and give many examples. The language of the first group was not like that. But what was it? It was the sound of the true heart. This was how the sound from the heart became instrumental in making many others belong to the comforter of hearts. Their language was mixed, but the language of their eyes was spiritual. This was why no matter what they grew against the expansion, this was why no matter what their language was like, they changed thorns into flowers, into roses. Actually, they changed thorns into roses. When you check the success of the service of the first group against the expansion of the present time, you can see a difference, can you not? One generally speaks of the majority. In the second and third groups too, there are some with true hearts, but that is a minority. The riddle of the beginning is continuing even now. Which riddle? What's the riddle that Baba came to solve for all of us? Here we go. Purifying the, but what's the riddle? That's it. Who am I? Even now, Baba says, ask yourself, who am I? Do you know how to solve this riddle? Or are you only able to solve the riddle when someone else tells you? Even if someone were to tell you, you would try to convince yourself. Not like this, but like that. Therefore, only look at your own self. Some children check themselves, but there are two types of vision in checking the self. In that too, some check with the vision of an unlimited head, but their spectacles are those of carelessness. In every situation, they would feel that however much renunciation they have had, however much service and transformation they have done, it is enough. They feel, I am much better than this one or that one. It is not easy to do even this much. Even well-known ones have a few weaknesses. So in comparison to them, I am better. This is wearing the spectacles of carelessness. It reminds me of, I think just a few years before, Kenbai had come on his way back from Mumbai, and we had a half-a-day retreat with him. And he was sharing the different forms of I. And the one aspect he took up was some souls would say, oh, but I did this and I did that, and I had this much of renunciation and I did the service. And so he said, so what? So what? Because whatever I do, I'm actually doing for myself. So what's the big deal about it? Yeah. So that's why Baba saying, this is wearing the spectacles spectacles of carelessness. It's like giving me room for excuse. That's what it's doing. The other type is wearing the right spectacles for self-progress. Those with true hearts have these. What do they see? That they have to have the thoughts, words, and actions that the Father Dilwala likes. Those who are wearing the light spectacles only see the Father and the Son. One of the classes, Rajubai was sharing that once he went to go see Daddy, she was sitting quietly and she was like in deep contemplation. So he asked Daddy, what are you thinking? You know? And so Daddy looked at him and she said that I'm seeing this diamond and I'm seeing what still needs to be polished in this diamond. You know, it's just this constant commitment from her side of keep looking at the self and saying, what else? What else do I need to cleanse and refine in the self? Such a deep commitment to that kind of internal change and transformation. So that's why Baba is saying that those who have, true hearts, that they have to have the thoughts, words, and actions that the Father Dilwala likes. Those who are wearing the right spectacles only see the Father and the Son. They do not see what the second or third person is doing. They are always concerned about changing themselves. They would not say, I will change when others change. Because then you'll never change. That's the reality. Or I will change 80%, they should at least change 20%. No, that will not happen either. What happens when we do that? When we want someone to at least shift a little bit, what happens then? We get disheartened. And so therefore Baba is saying, they would not think of transformation to this extent. They would think, I have to change myself and become an example to make it easy for others. This is why there is the saying, those who take the initiative are Arjuna. That's it. Arjuna means an alokik, unique person, a true seeker, one who is God's companion because of his sincerity. So this is known as wearing the right spectacles and having accurate vision. In the world, there are two main things in human life: hearts and heads. Both should be fine. Similarly, in Brahman life too, you need an unlimited intellect and a true heart. Those who have true hearts receive the lift of their intellects. And this is why you always need to check whether you please the Lord with your true heart or whether you just pleased yourself or just pleased a few souls. There are many signs of pleasing the true Lord. And Baba is very clever now. He says, churn this. and have a heart-to-heart conversation. Bab Dada will then also tell you something. Acha. So Baba wants us to reflect on it. Doesn't want to spoon feed us for everything. So teachers are sitting here today. Teachers are also contractors. You have taken a contract, have you not? You definitely have to bring about world transformation by having self-transformation. You have taken on such a huge contract, have you not? Mirabai, did you ever think I'm going to help God in transforming the world? The people of the world say, when you die, the world is dead for you. If you haven't died, the world is not dead. In the same way, self-transformation is world transformation. Without self-transformation, no matter how much effort you make on other souls, there won't be any transformation. It is a deep connection. Transformation only happens when there's realization. I can't change anyone. It's only when that soul has the realization for themselves can the shift happens. And so that's why it's a pointless exercise. I can inspire and be an example, but I can't change anyone. It's only when that soul recognizes. Sometimes it has to get so painful before the soul will realize I have to shift. But that's that soul's journey. And that's where I find it's very important to be detached, because you have to allow the soul to play their role, their part, and then be loving as well, so that I'm there to support in whichever way support is needed. But it's a game that we have to know how to dance of detachment and being loving. So without self-transformation, no matter how much effort you make on other souls, there won't be any transformation. Nowadays, people don't change by listening to others, but by seeing the change in others. Why are souls, no matter what they were like, able to change themselves in Madhuban? You tell them this at the centers too, but when they come here, they see it for themselves. And by seeing it, they are able to change themselves. Some husbands were able to change themselves when they see the transformation in their wives who were in bondage. When they tried to give them knowledge, they would not listen to it. However, when they saw the transformation, the impact of that brought about transformation in themselves. A good example I want to use here is Sister Pratiba. You know, before she came to Baba, her life was very hectic as an artist, and her family had given up on her. And then when she, like a year before she came into the art, she really cleaned up her act. It was something that her grandmother had passed on, and so she had to take responsibility. But really, when she came to Baba and her family saw the transformation in her, and on so many levels, whenever Daddy came or Jainti Ben came, her eldest, Mama Shlubi, would always come to fetch them from the airport. And, she gave 110% cooperation. Like when Daddy came once, we went to Cape Cod. So she had a little combi, in a way. So she loaned it to us so that we could go and, she would do anything. And it was just because she said, because of the transformation in Pratiba's life, she knew this was real. And she had such deep respect. So it's like the service of our own transformation that it does. Yeah. And she was married to the Archbishop, the previous Archbishop. So we had so many programs at Bishop's Court as well. It was because of her. Yeah. It's a very good service happened. So as Baba said, however, when they saw the transformation, the impact of that brought about transformation in themselves. This is why you were told that today's world wants to see it. So this is the special duty of the teachers. To demonstrate something by doing it means to demonstrate this by changing yourself. Do you understand? To those who constantly uplift all souls, to those who constantly please the true Lord with a true heart, to those who keep a balance of an unlimited intellect and a true heart, to those who always make themselves instruments of world transformation, to the elevated souls who transform themselves, to the souls who consider themselves to be elevated service, and thereby move forward to all the special children everywhere. Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. And then today Baba was meeting the Delhi group. All of you have love for the Father merged in your hearts. Love has brought you here. Love of the heart has brought you to the Comforter of hearts. There cannot be anyone except the Father in your heart. No? The story of Hanuman, tears open his chest, his arms in his heart. That should be our memorial. Since the Father is your world, then for the Father to be in your heart means the Father is your world. This is why you have one direction, one strength, and one support. It's a deep checking point, that when I'm faced with any challenge, where does my intellect go for my support? Where do I draw my strength from? Where do I take my comfort from? And that becomes a very clear mirror for itself. Where there is oneness, there is success in every task. Do you find it easy or difficult to overcome any problem? If you look at others, if you remember others, then even with just two, there wouldn't be unity. It would then become difficult. The Father's direction is remember me alone. If you obey His orders, then your obedient children receive the Father's blessing and everything becomes easy. I felt this was like a formula Baba has given us. That if you obey His orders, if I really align myself with Srimad, on a very subtle level to check this out in that deep way, then your obedient children receive the Father's blessings and everything becomes easy. I don't struggle, no matter what the situation is, but there's a feeling of being supported and there's a clarity in the intellect of the next step. If you don't obey the Father's orders, you don't receive the Father's help or blessings. And this is why it becomes difficult. Srimad is our stock. Yeah, that when we do follow Srimad, we accumulate. Yeah, we accumulate power. So you are always obedient, are you not? All obedient children? Very good children, okay? The teacher has spoken. Ma'am. In worldly relationships too, my little ear thing fell out. Ears are too small for this. In worldly relationships too, there is so much love for obedient children. That is temporary love, whereas this love is eternal. The blessings of this one birth will be with you for many births. So you have become worthy of receiving eternal blessings, have you not? You find this life of yours to be sweet, do you know? It is such an elevated and lovely life. Brahman life is a lovely life. If it is not the Brahman life, you won't find it to be a lovely life, but a life of distress. So much of worries that souls have, right? And it's not that we're not faced with challenges, but it's like the sanskara of worry has really been reduced to such an extent. Because there's a deep feeling everything will be okay. Everything is accurate. And Baba's there for us. So just to keep that contrast for the self. You find this life of yours to be sweet, do you not, Kevin? So, is it a lovely life, or do you become tired? Are you thinking about how long the confluence age will continue? Anyone had that thought? How long is this going to carry on? The body is not well, you are unable to do service. You don't get distressed by all of that, do you? This life of the confluence age is the most elevated of all lives. This is a life of attainment. Later, it will be a life of experiencing the reward. So it's interesting, Baba is saying that now is a time of attainment. So the attainment is the experience of Baba's support, of this Brahman life. And then later, it's the reward, the fruit of the attainment. So later, it will be a life of experiencing the reward. It will be a life of everything decreasing. Now, it is a life to fill yourself. You become 16 celestial degrees full now. 16 celestial degrees means full. Do you experience this life to be extremely lovely? Or are you sometimes fed up with life? You are not fed up and thinking that you now just want to leave, are you? If the Father takes you somewhere to do service, that is a different matter. But you mustn't go having got fed up. If you have a part to do service in the advanced party and you go according to the drama, you would not go distressed. You would go with honor. You would be going for the sake of doing service. So never get fed up with your children or yourself. Mothers, do you ever get fed up with your children? Maybe the children, but not the grandchildren, right, Mirabel? Since they are children born of tamo-pradhan elements, how can they show their sattva-pradhan nature? They are also under an influence. You too sometimes forget the Father's orders, do you not? Since you make mistakes, what does it matter if the children also make mistakes? Since they are called children, what does it mean when you say children? Sometimes even adults become children. That is, they become senseless. Therefore, never get distressed seeing others distressed. It's like really not to absorb where another soul is. Just keep that detachment is important. No matter how much they distress you, why do you let go of your honor? And this was something that came through from a conversation with Mohini Ben, with Sister Wadi, very lovely. And what Sister Mohini shared is that no matter what the circumstance is, I will never let go of my values, because my values are my honor. So no matter what the pressure from the outside may be, but she stays very true to her values, because in a way, it's like staying true to the self in a way. Yeah. And I think that is a deep foundation for self-respect. When I'm staying true to my values in that deep way, my virtues. So is it the children's weakness or yours? In that case, they would have felt courageous because they were able to remove you from your honor and cause you distress. So never allow yourself to become distressed, even in your dreams. That is, do not let go of your elevated honor. Do you not know how to sit on your seat of honor? So from today, never get distressed, whether with your illnesses, with your children, with your sanskaras, or with the sanskaras of others. Sorry, I think there's someone unmuted. Abhinav, can you please mute them? The Baba said, so from today, never get distressed, whether with your illnesses, with your children, with your sanskaras, or with the sanskaras of others. Sometimes you get annoyed with others, do you not? Baba knows us so well, doesn't he? Oh, he's like just those what pokes us a little bit now and again. Some say, and this is a classic, right? Some say everything is fine with everyone, except with just this one, with whom I get annoyed. So there'll always be someone to press our buttons, right? There's always one person, right, Amibin? So those who distress you should not become courageous. You have to be courageous. So meaning, don't let them shake you. You stay stable, and then that's your victory. Whether there is 1 or 10 opposing you, you are a master, almighty authority, not weak. So constantly keep the blessing in your awareness that you will always stay in your elevated honor. Not one who will get distressed. You are those who remove the distress of others. You always remain seated on the throne of your honor. Look, nowadays, they just have a chair, a position. Whereas, what do we have? Whereas you have a throne. They would die for a chair, a position. Whereas you have received a throne. So you are those who are seated on the immortal throne of your elevated honor. You are the souls who are seated on the Father's heart throne. Always maintain this honor. So constantly remain happy, and when I'm happy, what do I do? You dance. Okay. So constantly remain happy and distribute happiness. So it's a good reminder. Diwali is the time of distributing happiness. You don't have to do the sweets as long as you do the happiness. That's amazing, right? Acha. Delhi is the foundation of service. If the foundation is weak, everyone becomes weak. Therefore, always remain strong. Acha. And then Baba was speaking to a group from Warangal. I don't know where that is. But, where is it? You don't know? Okay, forgot the state. Okay, Warangal. First time I'm hearing that name. So do you always experience yourselves to be double light? The souls who are double light have mind. That is, they have the Father's power with them. One study told me, be triple light. So, okay. But that's when there's lightness, there's power. It's not the same, you know? So you are double light and also have mind. Can you use the powers at the appropriate time? Or is it that the time passes by and you then remember? Because no matter how many things you have, if you don't use them at the right time, what can be said? Whatever power is needed at any time, to be able to use that power at that time, this practice is now necessary. Some people say Maya came. However, why did she come? Why does Maya come? Because of weakness. To test us. Maya comes to test us. Ready? Oh, Freddie said, I asked her to come, so she comes. Okay. Oh, Freddie invites Maya now anyway, just to test yourself out. Ready? We invite Maya to teach us how to do yoga. So some say Maya came, however, why did she come? She came because you didn't use the power to discern. It's so powerful, you know? To be able to recognize truth from false. When I can't use that power, then I get deceived by Maya. She came because you didn't use the power to discern. Did she know? If you recognize from a distance that Maya is coming, you will chase her away from a distance, will you not? And that's why self-reflection is so important. Because I must know what my trigger is that brings Maya, you know, what trips me up. If I have that awareness, then it's almost like I know when something can trigger me, so I prepare myself, you know. But if I don't know what triggers me, then it becomes like after the situation, then I realize. So that's why that self-knowledge is important. So if you recognize from a distance that Maya is coming, you will chase her away from a distance, will you not? Maya has come. You gave her a chance to come, and this is why she came. If you chased her away from a distance, she wouldn't come. If Maya repeatedly comes, and you then battle to chase her away, you will then develop sanskaras of battling. If you have sanskaras of battling over a long period of time, you will then have to become part of the moon dynasty. Sun dynasty means one who is victorious over a long period of time. And moon dynasty means one who is sometimes victorious and sometimes has to work hard while battling. So all of you are part of the Sun dynasty, are you not? It is the sun that provides light even for the moon. So the sun would be said to be number one, would it not? The moon dynasty is 2 degrees less. 16 celestial degrees means full pass. When you never fail in your thoughts, words, relationships, and connections, and in your sanskaras, you are said to be the Sun dynasty. Are you part of the Sun dynasty in this way? Acha. Are all of you content with your efforts? To pass fully in all subjects means to be content with your efforts. So check yourself in this way. Remember, I am a flying bird who is going into the flying stage, not one who is going to be trapped down below. This is your blessing. Acha. I really like this line because last year at some point, I don't know if any of you read the book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And just that thing of going beyond the ordinary and flying high, just keeping that awareness that never to get locked in the ordinariness of things and keep that elevated in. So I am a flying bird who is going into the flying stage, not one who is going to be trapped down below. This is your blessing. And then the blessing this morning. May you be a firm and unshakable self-sovereign who constantly experiences supersensuous joy. May you be a firm and unshakable self-sovereign who constantly experiences supersensuous joy. The children who receive the inheritance of supersensuous joy at the confluence age for all time, that is, those who have full rights over the Father's will, are the ones who have will power. They constantly experience unshakable supersensuous joy, such as, that is, those who have a full right to the inheritance receive a constant and unshakable self-sovereignty. So, last week Sunday when Baba was talking about accumulation, that accumulation happens when there's one kingdom, one religion in a way. When we talk of one kingdom, it is really about being a self-sovereign. Because when Maya comes, my internal kingdom gets divided. So it's like that self-sovereignty gives me rights to claim from Baba my full inheritance. And that then gives me that blessing of world power, that internal current of strength to put into place what I need to. And then the slogan, when there is the consciousness of mind, the intellect is completely turned around. So mind makes the intellect distorted, can't see things clearly. Acha. Om Shanti. Let's just take a few minutes of silence to reflect on what touched us from today's Murli. And then we'll share a few points, and we're going to have a small little celebration because it's Diwali on Thursday. let's have a few inspirations. It was a very powerful Murli, so how would we like to take it further? Points that touched you. All happy to sit in a garden. Great. So yeah, any points that touched your heart today? It's all about the heart, isn't it? Yes, he said two things: the conqueror of your heart and the comforter of your heart. Dilwala and Dilaram. Nice titles to actually explore with Baba, especially at Amrit Vela. That is, this love is for eternity. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. That's it, and it's like, so I'm just going to repeat for the Zoom people. But just in summary, Silan by sharing, the power of honesty in a way to really be able to see the self, and how that we really take power from Baba through that connection. And it's almost like honesty allows for that connection to really happen. And that connects it also with the power to discern, because it was lovely what Baba shared, that even if you don't have an unlimited intellect, but if you have an honest heart, that how at the right time you'll get the right touching. You'll pick up what's the next thing to do. So it's like a protection as well. Yeah, beautiful. Such a connection in every aspect. Yeah. And yeah.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. It seems like we've lost observatory, but is there anyone would like to share anything? I see there are a few points. Sister Iris shared when you are Baba's obedient child, you receive his blessings and help. And Brother Kadrivelan, remember the Father with a true heart. Going to try my best at all times. Om Shanti. Anyone else wants to share? Brother Avinal?
Om Shanti. The point that came to my mind was Baba mentioned a couple of times we are here to uplift everyone, because I think there's a lot going on and people are drowning in a state of accounts, whether it's pain, sorrow, or what have you. But I had a nice experience last week where someone had lost vision in their eye. It was Sister Rupa's niece. And I could see why, she had from a physiological point, but more than that, it was the sorrow that she was holding on. And so I was just sharing with Sister Rupa, just make sure that you uplift the soul, because even if the body is failing, at least if the soul is being tutored into thinking positively, you can overcome any adversities. You're strong in the face of adversities. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, thank you. Yes, it's true. Now, especially with whatever is happening, and as the upheaval in the world continues, and so many things will be happening, and souls will be going through so much. That is our energy and our power of upliftment that is going to help them see through, going to give them the hope, and reveal Baba, reveal the Father. So that is important. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I was thinking of also this point of removing the spectacles of carelessness. Yes, I'm sure Brother Avinal doesn't sell those spectacles at all. But yes, just making sure that we remain so attentive and careful in everything that we do. So everybody have a beautiful Sunday, and just keep Baba's words ringing in our heart and in our mind, so that we may overcome all of these obstacles and all of these vices that keep coming, and do enjoy your day. Brother Avinal, will you play a song for us?
Om Shanti Ben.
Thank you. Om
I
Shanti.
like the point.
Yes, Maribai.
Sorry, I like the point Baba says, having an unlimited heart, we become point. We become the point form. You don't need to have a good intellect. As long as I have a honest heart, it's easy to connect to Baba. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Maribai. Om Shanti.
I'll play a song now.
Thank you.
Before the body, before the story, before the name, beyond the mind's attempt to find or explain, before the breath, beyond the sense of pleasure or of pain, and after death, I am. Within the heart, the whole and part of everything I see, behind the eyes, beyond the skies, reflecting me. At the silent core, and yet before a phenomenon began. Oh, and after it, I am. separate us on the surface, yes. But I cannot find a boundary in consciousness. And when you ask me, where does awareness begin and does it end? I have to say, I've always been within the body, without the body, not subject to changing moods or states of health, points of view, without needs, before the deeds and the monuments of man. Oh, and after them, and after them, I am. Oh, many differences separate us on the surface, yeah. But I cannot find a boundary in consciousness. Oh. And when you ask me, where does awareness begin and does it end? I have to say, I've always been at the silent core, and yet before phenomena began. Oh, and after it, and after it,
Thank you.